What's up, homies and hoes? I've been busy this last month working on the base and some other stuff. I've still got a long way to go, but I think I got a good start going here. And I'll go ahead and show off some of this stuff in the order that I made it. So the main base was the last thing that I've been working on. And the first thing that I had to work on was over there. Okay, so we are now at the Guardian Farm. And this Guardian Farm probably took up most of my time. A lot of problems happened during the making of this. So first of all, this is where the ocean monument was. And I had the idea that, like I said in the previous video, I wanted to make a nether portal based Guardian Farm where they get pushed up and sent into the nether in here. Sometimes they try to resist a bit, but they get in there eventually. Also, sometimes some zombie pigmen spawn in the portal frame and then they just kind of get stuck there. But this is it. I just had the idea that I wanted to do these rectangular chambers. And so I just kind of made a random size. I mean, I didn't really plan out the size much other than that it needed to be short enough to, for a nether portal to fit. So I just started making some of these. I just kind of chose a distance. I figured 3 would be good enough for space for them to spawn in, and then also enough room for the water to flow down. And then I just kind of I just chose a size and then started to try to fit it within the confines of the ocean monument. And I came out with this layout here where it's, what is it, 5 here, then I think it's like 8 here. Yeah, 8 here, and then another 5 here. And, these could go out to the edges here. This is still technically the ocean monument, but, yeah, I didn't really care. It doesn't need to be 100% efficient or anything, but it's pretty efficient. So my first idea for how this was all going to work was the Guardians would get sent to the Nether, and then they'd get killed there, and all the items would get sorted there as well. But that turned out to be a problem. And during the making of this, so like, I don't even know, like 3 weeks ago or something by now, while I was still working on this, I made another short video. Well, I don't know, it was maybe like 15 minutes or something. I recorded a video for it showing, what was going on, talking about what was going on before all this. And I'll play that here in a second. Just for context, I was in the middle of making this, okay? I had already set up in the Nether a sorting system and everything, and it was working. So I essentially had just this left one built. And I was working on the next one right here, and I ran into a problem where all the items were getting spat through this nether portal here instead of all of the items staying in the nether. Or, well, actually it was because... Sorry, this place has gone through so many iterations and ideas. So the reason the items were coming back through this nether portal up here was because the first idea of all the Guardians getting killed and sorted in the Nether didn't work because the sorting system wasn't fast enough because there were too many mobs, getting spawned in there just from this first one. So then I had to change it where the original nether portal that used to be over here used to be like right in the middle. Well, maybe not right in the middle. It was like about here or something. And so I ended up making it so that the items came back through into the overworld and were sorted here in the overworld, like right where this one would have been, or where it is. But then that's when I was running into the problem when I finally started making this one, and I lit the nether portal. Half the items were coming through up here, so then I had to rearrange some stuff, and then yeah, I'll go ahead and show you the clip. So I've been working on the Guardian farm, and I mean, it's just been one problem after the other with this place. So, I mean, as you can see here, we got some stuff built. This right here is the auto sorter. This is the second iteration of it. But the main problem that I'm having now, that is just the whole reason of making this, is so the idea, obviously, is to have these housings to spawn guardians. Get a little farther away, they can start spawning. So guardians spawn in here, and then, you know, they flow up. They immediately get teleported to the nether to free up the mob cap. So that's all good. You know, it works exactly like I'd want it to. Currently there's only about, 40 to 50 mobs, hostile mobs spawned at a time. Sometimes it gets to the 60s. Also, sometimes one will spawn over here in that water stream, but that's not even going to be a problem because it's getting moved, and it wasn't a problem before because if they did spawn there, they would just flow in down the water stream, and then there was lava here. The problem now that this is all happening is, so in the nether is the killing chamber. So they get teleported to the nether, then they die, then the items get moved back to the overworld to get sorted here, right? So they were all coming through this portal, which is the original portal I made over here in the monument. I just sort of, I was testing out like moving the items back to the overworld, and the items were always coming through this portal when I only had one of these, that far one. And all the items were coming through here. Right, and then so I built around that, made this water stream to carry them up, and then float it, down this way over a bunch of hoppers and slabs. Slabs have hoppers underneath them. So there's, it was working good. As you can see, it's got plenty of drops. It worked really, really well. Even got some ink sacs and pufferfish here at the end. But the main issue of why this has to be moved is because once I made this one, half the items that were coming through there were now getting spat out up here, as you can see. So that's just, that's a problem. I mean, I know I'm getting way more items than I need anyway, but, that's just going to be an issue if I'm, half the items that are coming through are getting spat out up there and just have to wait to despawn after 5 minutes. That's going to be a little bit of a lag issue, probably. So, I was, I messed around trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I save this? The whole reason I even built the auto sorter and shit right here was because I didn't want to have to move the portal because I figured it would mess up, which portal the items came through and stuff. So I just put the portal there, and it happened to work out that where the portal was, I could fit the whole auto sorting system in one of these containers. So I have to move this. This has to go. So when I was trying to figure out how to fix this, I tried different things like breaking different portals and reigniting them, seeing if that would fix where the items would come through. It didn't. They still kept coming through up there and through there. So then I was trying to figure out, okay, well, why are they not coming out of that one? And they're just coming out of that one. And I counted between the two, and there's about 30 blocks between that portal and that portal. So then I figured, okay, so if I build the portal 30 blocks below the bottoms of those portals. I wonder if that'll fix it. So down here, we got this little chamber here, which has the new portal that's 30 blocks below. And as you can see, it is working. It's spitting out all of the items, except it's spitting them all out into lava because I don't have any auto sorting system or anything. And since this works, I'm now going to have to build a whole underground chamber under here earlier than I thought I would, just so I can build the new storage housing for all of these drops. And that will be the third iteration of the storage system that I've made, because in the Nether, let me show you. So in the Nether here, this is where the original storage system was. So that portal and the portal back there weren't here, but it was just a sorting system. The hopper lines went into a single hopper line that went over several chests that were laid out right here, and it was auto-sorted. But the problem was there's way too many items getting dropped for the system to handle. You know, one hopper line can only handle, like 2.3 blocks a second. And I'm getting like 20 blocks a second, or 20 items a second. So it had, I was going to have to move and reorganize the sorting system anyway. But originally I was going to try to keep the sorting and everything in the Nether. So I was looking up how to do that, and you'd have to use pistons, with slime blocks on them to push items down ice paths. And it's just wasn't gonna work because there's just the way this is laid out right now. It wasn't gonna happen. Not with my knowledge of redstone. I'm getting better at redstone, but that's just a little bit too much for me. I'm already working at maximum capacity. So now the way this is laid out, since I got rid of all the chests that were here except for the ones that had some stuff in them. But now the way it works is, we got the hoppers under here. Some of them are going to the front, some are going to the back. And it's just putting them into droppers. And the droppers are just on a fast clock to just spit out the items really quickly. I don't think there's actually anything in these. Oh, actually there's a little bit in them. So yeah, it's just these past few days of working on this Guardian farm have been a struggle. And now I gotta destroy the auto-sorting system all over again and move it somewhere else. It is going to be a better auto-sorting system than this though, because I did look up a better and faster auto-sorting system that can handle the amount of items. This could handle the amount of items as well, but if there's going to be, more than double what's coming through, potentially, then, it's best to just have something a little better. I was pretty proud of myself initially when I made this. I was pretty happy with it because I managed to fit the whole thing within the constraints of one of these containers. It all fit in here. I had 12 lines of chests. Well, anyway, now I gotta do even more work. I gotta destroy all that, and then I gotta build a whole section down here, and that's just gonna take a while. This Guardian farm it's gonna be good, but it's taking a lot more work and time than I had initially thought it would. So that's what happened 3 weeks ago, and this is where we are now. I've come a long way since then. And so the sorting system down here has also gone through many iterations. This sorting system, like the way the items are sorted, this is always how this has been. I did move around the chests a lot. I thought of a lot of different orientations for how these chests should be down here, how they should be spaced, how many there should be, where they should be, and this is what I've settled on, because the plan is Well, I'm going to be bringing back a... Well, I guess I'm not bringing it back. I'm actually using a design idea. Well, I'm going to use a design idea that I came up with for the realm world that I had. So it would have been the second episode, I believe, of my Minecraft world retrospective. So in that world, we had a dock underneath our base where the docks were. I had designed a space to put some like auto farms and stuff. I ended up never using it, or the design and stuff that I put down there. But I am going to use it here, I think. Anyway, back to what's actually here. So this design that I've got going here for the auto sorting, I got from a this ain't designed by me, I'll tell you that. But I'll put in the description where I got the video from. This was a really nice, compact, quick auto sorting system that I found, and don't think it's any more lag efficient than a regular auto sorter would be. It's probably less efficient because there's a bunch of entities in the form of minecarts and open top hoppers that are causing some lag, but it didn't really matter to me because this building over here is going to be off by itself where it's not even going to be causing lag. It's going to be spaced out enough from other buildings where it's not going to matter. So this portal here where all the items come through, this portal has moved around a lot. Probably about 10 times this has moved around to various spots down here as I've tried to figure out where to build it, where the items will just come through this portal and not the portals up there. And apparently where it is right now is where it needs to be. With it being right here, all the items that get dropped from the Guardians get pushed out through this portal only. And any of the items and stuff that you see up here, so you see there's like fish and pufferfish, that's just from, I think, the fish and stuff dying as soon as they get into the nether, and then their items get transferred back in through the entrance nether portal that's there. And it doesn't matter anyway, I'm not filtering pufferfish or tropical fish down here anyway. These first 6 chests on both sides are just for prismarine shards, and then the last 6 have different ones, well, sort of different ones. The first 2 filter prismarine shards as well, then the second 2 filter prismarine crystals, and then the last 2 filter cod. I mean, I don't need cod for anything really, but I figured might as well filter it. So in the back here is where all the unfiltered stuff comes from both sides. It links up, and then it all falls down into this lava. So back over here with the nether portal where all the items are coming through. First of all, it's just, I don't know if it's just because this took so long to make and it was such a pain in the ass, but just watching this work, watching all the items come through, it's just so satisfying to me. It just, yeah, I love seeing this. And then you can see here that sometimes the items that come through the middle just get stuck in the middle and they don't go to either side. And the way I fix that is I have a block that gets pushed up and changes the water flow so that it no longer wants to flow over to the right side over there, and it only flows over to the left. And that changes this middle block to not flow forward but to flow left instead, and that lasts just long enough to get them moving into that water stream that'll push them over there. And regulating that, I've just got a etho hopper clock down here. And this whole setup with the hopper clock and the water flow and everything and the nether portal is what I moved around like 10 times. It was a pain in the ass to just keep moving this around. Same thing with these water streams carrying up all the items. Thankfully, these I didn't have to rebuild 10 times. I only rebuilt them like 3, and they go up and carry the items down over the filters. I'm sure you've seen, you know, how water stream item filters and stuff work, but just a quick explanation. They hit the chest here, which puts them on the center of the block, which then these hopper minecarts that are slanted down will pick up the items on both of these, you know, sides. And then, yeah, there's ice every now and then, sparsely put because I can only get ice from the wandering trader, so I gotta use it wisely. So really, I could probably get rid of some of these ice blocks, but I don't need the ice right now anyway. I got the scaffolding here instead of signs, just because. No reason really. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all there's to say about this. So there's, you notice there's half slabs and stuff down here and up here. And the half slabs up here, on this side at least, are just really just to match this side in aesthetics. But the whole reason there's half slabs is because this chunk right here, as well as this chunk, is a slime chunk. And since this is below Y like 40 or something, it's spawning slimes down here. So I got the slabs here to prevent the slime spawns. Up here at the guardian level is too high for the slimes to spawn. So the design up here was, well, it was a little bit of improv, a lot of bit of planning ahead of time. So the main design was planned for, and then the roof was sort of just a last minute sort of thing, as well as these overhangs and stuff here. Those were just kind of done on the spot. I came up, took like, I don't know, like 2 hours or something of just messing around with different roof designs, and I just settled on this one because it looked the best, you know, from every angle. There's some other ones that looked good from maybe just like down here, but then if you flew up here and saw it, it just looked awkward. So this just worked out the best. It's nothing special, but yeah, it didn't need to be. Looks good enough. The design between the buildings is sort of like, yeah, it's just like a rundown alleyway, you know, with the windows for, you know, where apartments would be, I guess. And then you've got the lines going across from building to building, holding different things like lanterns and bells and, you know, whatever this is. It just kind of looked, yeah, I don't really know what this is supposed to be, but just kind of looked right. Looked creepy enough, I guess. And then you just got some chains hanging by themselves as well. And I like how it looks, you know, when you're actually like walking through it. But I don't like how these alleyways look from a distance because they just look so cluttered. You just like can't tell really what's going on between the buildings. So I don't like that, but I do really like how it looks close up when you're actually in it. And then to go with like the rundown alleyway theme, we've got some mud, bricks, and dirt and stuff between the buildings. And let me tell you, dirt it's a problem. It is a big problem. I'm going to have to not use dirt much because there's not a good way to get it. The way I got most of this was I did it's not even a glitch, it's just, I don't know what you'd even call it. Like It's just a way to convert gravel to dirt. So, since gravel is a gravity block, and I can duplicate that with a gravity block launcher, I basically just duplicated a bunch of gravel, and then with already existing dirt that I had, I turned the gravel and the dirt into coarse dirt, which will give you 4 blocks. So like, 2 dirt blocks, 2 gravel blocks give you 4 coarse dirt. But then if you hoe that coarse dirt, or, well, if you hoe the coarse dirt, it'll turn into just dirt, which isn't what I did. I used a shovel to make it a grass path, and then you destroy that grass path and it'll give you dirt. So you can essentially just turn gravel into dirt, which is what I did, but it's such a long process to do that. So in total, I probably spent like 3 hours or so, maybe 4, just making a shulker of dirt, which was not fun. And then to get all this mud, that's another problem because I gotta then place the dirt that I've just spent, 4 hours duplicating. And then I gotta take some water bottles and fill them up. And 1 water bottle takes up 1 inventory slot. So I gotta fill up some water bottles, and then I gotta right click on the dirt to make mud. And it's just a process. Oh yeah, and then for the whatever the hell this shit is, I went and bone mealed some moss blocks and turned stone into moss blocks, and then I put the moss blocks all around a 2x2 spruce sapling, and then grew it, and then it turns it into this shit. And yeah, it's a real problem getting these blocks here. So unfortunately, they look really good. I just had to suffer through it, and I'll probably have to suffer through it a lot more. I have no idea what I'm going to do with the rest of this place, because originally these containment units were just going to be just nothing. They weren't going to look like anything except rectangles that had the guardians in them. But I just, when I started working on it, I just couldn't leave it as just rectangles. Just didn't look right. So then I made these, and the original idea was to just have these rectangles inside of a larger building. So like this whole place would be a building and it would encompass these rectangles. But now I don't know what I'm going to do with this place now that I've put this much work into it. Because the whole problem is that this needs to be in line with that. And the center is here, which means I'm going to have to go another 3 chunks that way over, this side. But it's not going to make sense to have these going that way as well, because there's not going to be guardians in them. There can't be. So I have no idea what I'm going to do over here. I'm just kind of leaving this till much later to deal with, and I'll just hope that I get an idea for it. On to the main base, what I've recently worked on. So as you'll see, or may see, or won't see in the time lapse in a separate video, I had to increase the size of the circle that I had originally built over here. So the circle was originally, I think, 92 blocks or something wide, but turns out I miscounted how long, or like how big this place was going to be. So I had to then scale up the size of the original circle so that it would fit this on it, as well as some extra space like outside of it, like it is now, so I can put some whatever around here, a path, maybe some trees, statues, I don't know, something else out here. So it had to be extended by another, I want to say 12 blocks. I think the final, I don't know what the final length of the circle was. It was somewhere around like 120, 120 diameter. So I had to extend that, and then that was just the bottom circle that I had made at that point. And to make this at the same height as the Guardian farm over there, I had to make a second circle on top of it so that it would be level with over there. So this is now level with over there. But I was already kind of debating whether I was going to do that or not, just because if this platform were any lower, slimes would be spawning on it. So this just kind of is nice to have. Means that I don't have to worry about the slime spawning, because, you know, if you saw the last video, slimes were spawning and stuff down here when it was on this level. For the design out here, there's not much to say other than it was designed off of that picture that I showed in the last video, that real world structure. And, obviously it's not like that structure at all, just kind of vaguely, designed off of it. So at first I designed this section here. And once I had finally gotten this section is when I was like, okay, this place actually might look good. Then I wanted there to be more color in it. I didn't want to just use all these, dark greens and stuff around. And originally I was wanting to add wood into it somewhere, but there just wasn't anywhere that wood made sense. It just didn't look right anywhere. But then I decided to go with this, some different colors to go along with it. And I came up with this, which I like. And this section here was originally, in the design, it was originally just another one of these bits here with this. But before I even started designing it, like right before I started designing it, when I was taking the pictures in the creative world to reference while I build it, I already knew that it just wasn't going to look right if there's going to be too much of this all around it. So I designed a different part for right here and came up with this, where it's these little aquariums that sometimes have fish in them, sometimes they don't. These aren't, these are just spawning fish and squids and stuff randomly. These aren't named or anything. And then the whole thing going around is just the same thing. These bits here in the middle were also designed ahead of time. I feel like from a distance, these look, well, sometimes they look kind of awkward. I don't know, these tops. Sometimes they look a little weird, sometimes they don't. Like those over there, they kind of look weird from over here. But, from down here, when you're on the ground, it looks fine. I don't know, it's just one thing about this. Like, I like this design. I don't know what's gonna go in this center here, what the rest of the roof is gonna be. But I think what I got here is good. And then I got the dark prismarine here to outline the doorway, the entryway. There's no door. Yeah, pretty much nothing else for the inside is designed. I have absolutely zero idea what anything in here is going to look like. I don't know how the chests are going to be laid out. I don't know what all is going to be in here. It's just a mystery. Floor pattern, interior design, I have no clue, because, where do I even begin? No, is it going to be all one floor up here? Am I gonna split it into a first floor and second floor? There's also gonna be a, from the design that I showed in the last video, like pretty much underneath this main building, it's going to connect down into the sea with some pillars going around it and glass, in this, so you can see out into the ocean. But then how is that going to connect to in here? How am I going to connect this up to the ceiling? There's a lot to figure out with this place, and I just have no idea about any of it. Alright, so down here under the base, I'm back, down here in I don't know, the auto farm area. So I've added some stuff. I added a wheat farm, auto wheat farm, and it works pretty well. I needed the wheat for the mud bricks. In here, I'm pretty sure this was like this last time, but I did add another section of kelp up there. And currently I have this not on. By not on, I just blocked off the hopper that all the items are supposed to go into. Because there's no overflow protection or anything. So it's just picking up bamboo right now, which happens pretty slowly. Blocked off the slimes over there so they can't get over here and annoy me. Over here, past the wheat, not the wheat, the sugarcane farm, we've got the cactus farm, just a little small auto cactus farm in here. I just needed the cactus for some green dye, but figured I might as well just make a quick little auto cactus farm since they're easy. In here with all the villagers, I added quite a few new villagers. Lots of stonemasons, a couple of clerics, just because I needed the redstone and lapis. But yeah, got a lot of stonemasons in here because I was trying to get these two trades, the orange glazed terracotta and the orange terracotta. Needed those for the base. Moving to the nether, you can see how the guardian farm works a little bit more. Up here is the portal that all the guardians come through. So as you can see here, well, this place has gone through many changes as well to try to get this to work right. I did build a test version of this in my creative world, but I still had to change it up a bit to get it to work. So the guardians fall here. It's far enough for them to die, whether they hit this top prismarine or whether they hit the block down there. They'll die, and then their items will either fall on top of that glazed terracotta or they'll fall on top of those half slabs of the prismarine. And then that'll get shot across the ice into that nether portal where it goes to the auto sorting system. The whole reason it's set up like this is because originally I tried well, maybe not many, but I tried some different things to get as many of the items through the portal as possible. And this was pretty much the only way to guarantee that 99.9% of all the items that fell down here would go through the portal. Because otherwise the items would just the guardians would die and then their items would spew out further onto the track where the piston, the slime, sticky pistons, whatever, they wouldn't hit the items, so then they would just be a bunch of items just stagnant here. And yeah, just thinking about how much time this all took and how much trial and error, just it makes me glad that it's finally working and it doesn't need any more tweaking. So back here we got another hopper clock. I don't know how fast it is. Looks like 8 blocks in each. Yeah, 8 blocks. And then we got it set up so that the top one goes, and then a second later the bottom one will go, just so that it lines up well. It gives the items time to fall down onto the half slabs there. So yeah, this is how all this works, and just the cherry on top of all of this, let me show you. It's all in the same chunk. I didn't plan for this, okay? But it's just one of those nice things where this whole setup was able to fit in one chunk, which is just great. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if it would have broken, if it wouldn't have worked, if it wasn't all in one chunk, but I didn't have to worry about that because thankfully that was just a problem that was solved before it ever came up. I forgot to mention, but for the main base, I way overstocked on prismarine for it. I thought it was going to take way more prismarine to make the main, the walls of the base. So I got all these shulkers over here full of prismarine, then over here was the prismarine bricks, and then over here was the dark prismarine. And I way overstocked on this stuff. This side doesn't look like I hardly used any prismarine, but that's just because I got a lot of prismarine back when I had to get rid of a lot of the outer circle and replace this stuff in here. So I got a lot of the prismarine that I used on the walls back from doing that. And then over here you can see I way overstocked on cyan terracotta and chiseled red sandstone. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.